A wheel that was bolted on tight 20 laps earlier just fell off William Byron's car at 180 miles an hour. No warning, no mistake on camera. And the man responsible for that pit stop says he still doesn't fully understand how it happened. Sunday at New Hampshire Motor Speedway, William Byron was running fourth on lap 233 when his left rear wheel came loose and sent him into the turn 3 wall. Here's the strange part. That wheel wasn't even touched on the stop before the crash. It had been bolted on 20 laps prior. The most recent pit stop only swapped the right side tires. So a wheel that had already survived one full run under green and caution somehow worked itself loose and ended Byron's day. This isn't an isolated bad day for Byron. He'd already slid from the top 10 in points down to 12th in the standings during a rough summer stretch. He's locked into the playoffs regardless, but this crash makes his road tougher. Instead of starting the postseason roughly 55 points behind leader Denny Hamlin, he could now be looking at a 75 to 85 point hole before the 10-race championship gauntlet even begins. In NASCAR's playoff format, points cushion is everything. Every stage point, every finishing position in these final 10 races determines who's still alive heading into the closing rounds. A gap that size doesn't eliminate Byron's chances, but it removes his margin for error completely. Crew Chief Rudy Fugle broke down the mechanical culprit, and it's more unsettling than a simple pit road mistake. He explained that the wheel attaches to a rotor hat with drive pins, and those pins have to align precisely with holes on the back of the wheel. Fugle's theory is that the wheel was off by roughly 20 thousandths of an inch, a margin so small it's basically invisible on camera, but enough to drag metal shavings against the pin and trick the crew into thinking the lug was fully seated. Then physics took over. Once Byron got back to speed, the natural forces acting on a left rear tire during a run, the ones constantly trying to pull it outward, slowly worked the wheel loose until it's separated entirely. Here's what makes this genuinely alarming for competitive teams. Fugle said other crew chiefs stopped him on pit road specifically because they'd experienced the exact same phenomenon. That means this isn't a Hendrick-specific failure. It's a blind spot in modern pit stop technology across the sport, a scenario where the tire can look, sound, and feel completely secure on video review and still be a ticking time bomb. The organizational response is where this gets uncomfortable. Hendrick Motorsports is expected to bench 2 crew members, likely the tire changer and Jackman, for Daytona and the Southern 500. That's a significant call for something Fugle himself labeled a freak circumstance rather than a clear-cut human error. It raises a real question about accountability in sports. Do you punish the process, or do you punish the outcome even when the process looked clean on tape? Expect a split reaction here. Traditionalists will point to NASCAR's brutal history with wheels and lug nuts and argue that any team shakeup, deserved or not, sends the right message about tire security. Others, especially inside garage circles, will sympathize with the crew, arguing you can't bench people for a mechanical anomaly that multiple crew chiefs across the sport admit they've quietly dealt with before. Either way, this story has legs beyond one race recap. It touches on safety, accountability, and whether NASCAR's single-lug wheel system still has a hidden flaw nobody's fully solved. Best case, Hendrick's pit crew depth absorbs the personnel change smoothly, Byron's team stabilizes heading into Daytona, and this crash becomes a forgotten blip once the playoffs actually begin. Worst case, the point deficit combined with a shakier pit crew rotation compounds early in the 10-race stretch, and Byron finds himself fighting from behind in a format that offers almost no room for recovery. So here's the real question. Was benching 2 crew members the right call for something Fugle admits might have been unavoidable, or is Hendrick just trying to look proactive after a bad break? Drop your take in the comments. And if you want the sharpest playoff breakdowns all season, make sure you're subscribed to SportsWire USA.